Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to your June tarot reading. If you are wanting your astrology reading, I have made a separate video for that, so you can check that out. We will only talk about the tarot over here. So it was quite a messy shuffle if you saw that one. It feels as though there's some changes coming up here in this month for you, some type of redirections coming in, and there can be some external influences or triggers that make you want to change something within your life. So let's see what all this is about. The first major highlight is we have something important such as a new job or a raise. Next, the second major highlight is grapes, time to go out and have fun. And the third major highlight is the whale, great worry over nothing. Let's see your tarot cards with the first one with death and rebirth. Immediately we're starting off with transformation and change, and that is being clarified by the Eight of Cups. So that indicates you're moving on from destructive thought patterns or catastrophizing situations. I feel as though you're understanding the root causes of your fears, insecurities, even guilt in some cases, and you're letting go of the pain or the suffering part of things. You're allowing an end to come to previous circumstances or previous ways of perceiving your life situations, and you're like, well, you know, it's done, it's in the past, and we can't do anything about it apart from forgive, accept, move on, and make a promise to not repeat the same things over and over again. This can be especially true in terms of emotional and subconscious patterns, such as let's say you're still having a difficult time trusting people because of a previous breakup or another difficult circumstance within any of your relationships. Holding on to that previous pain can be quite destructive to future relationships and does not allow you the space you deserve to have fun and connect with others intimately. So there is that change coming through. Another thing that I'm getting here is death corresponds with Scorpio, and this is corresponding with that new job or a raise. You might be looking at whether you're being financially compensated for the efforts that you put in, and if that is not true for you, then you might look for other options where you can actually be compensated. Then that would mean that you're detaching from your current situation and you're having to move on to a new phase in life, perhaps new colleagues, new surroundings, new projects, things like that. And it can feel a little bit daunting because we all get used to a comfort zone, but at the same time the transitions that are coming through can feel quite purposeful. Next, we have the Star, clarified by the Wheel of Fortune. This is literally a wish come true and luck being on your side. And your network as well can be very helpful and supportive. And by network, I of course mean your professional network, but also your friendship circle and your spiritual network as well. You're protected from difficult situations and you're being guided along the whole month, so all you really need to do is kind of go along with the signs and synchronicities. I'm almost getting as though you might see repeating numbers or shooting stars for some of you, and also certain fruits, certain animals and birds that will keep repeating themselves to you throughout the month. If you do find that to be true, then search about it and see what symbolism rings true to you that can have some meaningful pieces of information that can come in. There's this sort of expansion as well. Of course, wishes are coming in and that's already feeling quite expansive, but also in terms of personal development, you can see that you're no longer the same person that you were once before. So there's no point in holding to the same fears or insecurities of that previous version of you. So you're opening yourself up to new opportunities and you're going forward with an optimistic point of view, an open mindset, and an open heart to connect with whatever comes through here. Okay, then we have Ten of Swords clarified by the Death. That is so interesting. We have Death coming up twice, and the Ten of Swords is also about moving on from suffering, guilt, pain, things of that sort. So let the things that are gone be gone. You know, let the gone things just rest in peace. That type of situation is coming through here. There's no point in dredging that past back up, or that same narrative or the same story coming back to the forefront over nothing, basically, right? This is a time for you to start afresh with a completely new outlook on life. There can even be this desire to leave where you are right now, even physically, and you might want to move someplace else. So you're planning ahead, or you're looking for different ways that you could make that true, make that happen. And yes, there's still time. With the star, it's sort of like it takes time for things to become a possibility or a reality. Before we can move towards this ideal circumstance, we need to first let go of the limiting beliefs and limiting situations. So yes, there is a journey, but it is a very hopeful one. And beyond the 10 of Swords, the sun shines. This is the end, right? This is the end of the chapter, end of the journey, and now you're ready to move on to the next phase of your life. For some of you, this can even be in relationships. Scorpio is all about intimacy and vulnerability as well. You might share a painful past or a painful story and share the deepest parts of you, and that can be scary and at the same time very empowering for you and also the relationship, especially if you share your finances with someone, or you're planning to share finances and you're having discussions about that. There can be some conversations that you have which are very meaningful to you. Also, things such as your priority and your self-esteem can come up here, and things that limit those the health of those things are going to leave your life. Okay, wow, very empowering. Then we have the Knight of Swords, clarified by the Two of Swords. Okay, so, okay. I think you should watch the astrology reading, because I mentioned that there is a square between Gemini and Pisces throughout the third and the fourth weeks. And that is the time when most of us are going to feel a little bit conflicted about where do we head. There's many ideas and there's many feelings and there are many ways of approaching a topic, but it might be difficult to pinpoint exactly what might work or what might be a good idea. So for you, this can be about, let's see, 10th and 9th. So your 9th house and your 6th house. So you might want to go abroad, or you are thinking of teaching or doing some higher education, or you might already be involved in such a thing. And that would mean that your job and your lifestyle is being kind of governed by your need as a teacher or a guide or a mentor figure, and that can make you feel a little bit exhausted. You might feel as though you have to be in two places at the same time, so you're constantly running back and forth, and it can be really exhausting. Okay, so that's just something to look out for. Gemini talks about ideas, so you might have many things that you want to get done, or you have many options through which you can approach this moving on situation. So in this case, you have to really listen to your intuition, because otherwise this really is characteristic of just running back and forth aimlessly, okay? Going from one place to another without a clear destination in mind. That's kind of coming through. But the good thing about the mutable squares, the Gemini Pisces square, is that the more experimental you are or explorative you can be, the better you can understand yourself and your own preferences. We do have to do that hit and miss type of situation at some points in life. So I think if we use that for a specific purpose, then we can get a lot out of it. Okay, but of course that's kind of individual. Everyone is going to face it in a different way, which is why I talk about that in the astrology as well. But yeah, that's a little bit of a tidbit. All right, we have the Fool coming through. Wow, okay, we clarified that with the Fool. Wow, all right. I think Aries got a repeating clarifier as well. I think it was Three of Wands clarified by the Three of Wands. And that's so interesting because they are the opposite sign. I might be wrong. I don't quite remember. It's already 6 signs that I've moved through. And I also recording the audio for the astrology. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but yes, it looks like this is the strongest significator of a completely new beginning. And because we have the nodes also shifting really soon into the Aries Libra axis, your personality, your relationships, and your attitudes regarding relationships and yourself as well are going to go through some major shifts. So the Fool here with the Death is indicating that that new beginning is already starting, okay? Because it's at the very, very new beginning stages, you might feel a little bit confused or a little bit like you don't have a path or a plan yet. You don't quite have everything figured out, but that's okay. right? That's okay. That's the point of the Fool, that we get into something without knowing everything yet. We're just gonna have to trust that intuition and the universal guidance to show us the way. Now, speaking of synchronicities, we have 13 and 13 repeating, and we have 0, 0, and 100. 0 is all about potential and the very, very beginning stages of something. And 1s talk about forward movement and initiatory action. 13s are about stability, but also how your mindset affects what you create in your life, okay? So these can be some repeating numbers you see in general. What else am I getting? You definitely have a lot of courage this month, okay? You have courage. The fear over nothing or worry over nothing that's coming through, it can be related to again, holding on to the past. It can be that, let's say you divulge your secrets to your partner or to your close people, and you're like, oh, I'm actually really scared about this. And they're like, oh, that's fine. We can figure something out. And, you can try this out or that out. And you're like, oh, well, okay, well, I guess I was worried about nothing. Something of that sort, where you take it on yourself, but the moment you share it with someone, they might present some type of guidance to you that can be quite useful. If nothing else, they're there to support you, so that gives you that extra cushion. Okay, let's see your oracle cards. We have raw intention with card number 22, another synchronicity there, and we have the good kind. So you're absolutely courageous this month, and you're driven to make a difference in your life or create some type of forward movement. You definitely have plenty of raw energy, and that whenever things are raw, it really depends on that intention. What are you willing to create? What are you willfully creating? Okay, it's not leave it to free flow and see what happens. You also have to have a vision or a purpose in mind, and then take action towards that. Of course, part of it is to listen to other people, pay attention to the cues of the universe. That's of course there. But we also need to make the first step. And with the Fool here, you're taking a leap towards that unknown, and it can feel a little bit scary. Obviously, it's not an easy task to just jump off a cliff and hope everything is going to be fine, right? But at the same time, we don't feel that fear if it's something that we are already used to. Simultaneously, it's not as exhilarating if we have done that thing previously. So this is a fully new chapter. It can be a new country you're going, new connection you're building, new job that you're doing which you have not done before, so you feel inexperienced in this, or it can be new duties and obligations that come in for you, which are actually here to raise you up and get you to even better job positions or even better salary, but it might feel a little bit daunting initially. Now, whenever the Aries Libra axis, the north and the south node, move to the Aries Libra axis, that is really going to bring into focus how you cope, your general attitude, what needs to be released within you, and what can you learn through other people as well. So trusting and having faith is really going to come up during this time. I'm a Scorpio rising, so I had this, I still have, right, at the time of this reading, I still have the south node in my sign and the north node in my opposite sign. So in this year, even if I did not try to meet new people, I definitely did, and I learned a great deal from others, and I also put myself into perspective. I was able to more openly recognize what needs to stay, what needs to go, what mental habits am I struggling with, and many times you might be left alone to think on these things by yourself. Okay, so south node is when there is an isolation type of thing, or there's a detachment. So during times of eclipses or the north or the south node, north node being triggered, for me it was that people were not there around me circumstantially, just was really coincidental, but that they were not there, and I had the greatest epiphanies during those times. And that was the time that I actually released a lot of toxicities that I held onto for no good reason. So I think that's already starting because we had the eclipse in Aries, and that is directly impacting you. It's sort of that drum roll phase, I feel, that's coming through here. So quite exciting, goodness. But either way, as you see, with the good kind, it means that everything is taking you towards a higher version, and you can almost sense it, okay? Otherwise, you would not be willing to take a risk. You can sense that the scary thing that you're about to do, it's a good kind of scary, okay? And once you do it, you feel as though you got it. I think you'll feel the personal strength emerging more in July. But in June, you're definitely taking some forward movement there. Let's see what else we have for Libras, please, for the month of June. We have Aquarius, 6th house, and the moon. Aquarius falls in your 5th house. So your dating life could come in, how you have fun and entertain yourself, how do you spend time by you, how do you practice self-care as well, could come up here. Pay attention to your health, don't stress over everything. With moon and Aquarius, there can be a lot of overthinking regarding emotions, okay? And if that spins out of control, there can be some health issues that can come in, such as headaches or, shoulder aches, or I'm also getting sinus problems, something like that. So pay attention to yourself, especially this Knight of Swords and the Two of Swords. This is the only thing I'm concerned about. The others, they look very wholesome. Okay, there is a purpose to it, and I think you know what the purpose is. But with the Two of Swords, there's a clear, misunderstanding or confusion that can crop up. So be watchful for that. If you are connected with a partner, make sure to have very clear and honest expression of yourself. Clear communication is going to be super, super important, especially if you are busy and running after this task and the next and all of that, because you don't want additional tension from other sectors of your life. Yes, so that's what I have for you, Libras. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed and that this resonated with you. Let me know your thoughts. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.